Hey everybody, welcome back. We are live, and our IM board is lighting up. Eric and BTC are back there losing their minds. You guys have got some good ones. Keep them coming. We're going to be giving away a lot of 5 Reelsnot t-shirts.
All right, are you ready to vote on some more of these? Okay, here we go. So David suggests that we make them listen to Jacob Wheeler go over how he caught his fish each tournament day.
Oh no, he didn't.
Oh, he did.
Oh,
he did.
No. That's filthy.
Does he mean
if you thought that was
it's not
filthy,
entertaining to listen to that?
well, if you thought that was filthy, El Gordo wants us to coat them with Reelsnot and put them in a cell with Weinstein and Cosby. And then, last but not least, Helicopter Lore for Life wants us to make them sit down for a 6:30 Ike, or sit down at 6:30 for an Ike Live that starts at 7.
I think we should give him a t-shirt just for waiting.
That's amazing.
He gets a share for
how do
waiting.
we pick? Who wins?
Noah picks you, man.
Just
awesome.
I get it, man.
That
Man,
dude,
you guys
they were
are
all
good.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys keep them coming. But anyway, welcome back, and welcome back, guys. I know. Hey, we were just talking about this. I've been on the Upper Chesapeake all week. You guys fish the Upper Chesapeake Bay. The elites are coming here. So I think it's a cool topic for us to just kick into a little bit. Things are changing down there. The elites are going to be facing a whole different body of water. But apparently, and I got the first. There's no grass growing on the flats, or very little, like there's been in years past, and out on the Upper Chesapeake Bay, the Susquehanna Flats. And what happened apparently is that the winter had, a massive ice flow coming down the Susquehanna, and about 10 inches of ice got pushed out and sat on the flats when the north wind blew the water out. So the ice just sat there and just pretty much uprooted anything, changed the bottom configuration. And I don't know if that's true.
Well, it could have tilled it. That makes sense.
I don't know if that's what killed it. I don't know. If that's true. That's
what made
happened.
the Grand Canyon, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
it's a force. But you get out there right now, and there's 25 square miles of flats out there, and there's probably 5 acres of grass.
Ooh,
it's way down, and it's sparse. And that is definitely going to change the complexion of what goes on in that elite tournament. But what hasn't changed is the monster bass that live down there.
Oh yeah.
James Riley, who
you didn't even introduce.
Yeah,
who's
well done. Well
kicking
done.
in the back. I didn't even know he was back there.
Uh-huh. You brought him here.
Yeah.
What'd you think he was?
I thought he was hanging out at the bar, just eating tuna and drinking
what I
beer,
do.
man.
You
I
brought
was
him
hidden
here.
behind the wall there.
And you deny it.
James Riley, great to have. Let's introduce him
What's up,
now.
buddy?
Who went to Machine Head with us 2 years ago?
Behind
That's
our
right.
stairs.
Hey, he designed the label for Reelsnot.
Designed
really?
the label for Reelsnot.
He did.
Designed the Bass U logo. Designed the Ike Live logo. Designed the Ike logo.
Yeah.
He's got mega artistic talent, and
Knows the location of Capone's treasure.
And no matter where I
Maybe
move,
so.
Eric's
No, he
still in
doesn't.
front of him.
It's on the flats.
and BTC.
Yes, sir.
Will appreciate this. Rich will appreciate this. He loves to throw a Senko all day long. And he did so today and smashed him up with a 6.1
Wow.
7 down on the flats
Atta
amongst
boy. I gotta
4-pounders
ask you.
throughout the day. So
Good
flats
job.
keeps delivering the big ones. James had a great day out
All
there.
right, so obviously Senko's catch them, but how do you love to throw it?
Yeah.
Wacky, baby.
Well, here's how you love to throw it. I'll tell you right now. Here's the moment. It gives you that moment when that line will go snap, and before you set the hook, man, you don't know what you got.
Yeah.
You're so fired up, your heart starts beating.
You're asleep
reeling
'cause
out
you're
the
dead
slack.
sticking.
You're gonna hit him. He could be 6.1 pounds, or he could be 12 inches. You don't know.
Let's be
Hey,
honest.
look,
but it's
Bottom
awesome.
line,
Hey.
a Senko is just a tool like anything else. They're like right now between mid-May to mid-June, sure, it's going to excel more than anything else. But past that, if you're still throwing a Senko all the time, you're probably not going to even be doing as well as if you're punching, throwing faster reaction
Nah.
bait. It's just
Throw-
another tool.
I disagree.
Hey,
I'll tell you what,
Brian.
so January 2nd.
What about the other 9,999 cash you make that day with it?
Right. Well,
January
while you're
2nd,
waiting for it to slowly
2015.
get to the
Haters,
bottom.
man.
I caught an 11.9
Yep.
in Florida
Wow.
on my kayak in a small little lake. Everything down there is a lake. Old Lake Davenport over by Orlando. I was throwing Senko all day for like 5 days in a row, catching, pretty decent little fish, but I threw it up the next one little whatever those grass things are that are down there. It was out. Yeah, it was out like 40 feet from everything else. I threw it over there, and my phone went off, so I looked at my phone. So the Senko's sinking, and I lifted up, and it was taut. And I thought maybe I was caught on that, and sure enough, she moved. I hit her, came out of that water, looked like a Home Depot bucket. I was like, oh my gosh.
I'm going to find a
11.9.
picture of it.
So I think the
11.9.
majority of us fish Senkos with the same level of enthusiasm that we do when we ask a stranger how you doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, they're not fun. They're not
They're not-
sexy, but I'll tell you what, they work.
Yeah.
They work.
That's good.
Yeah, seriously, right?
Hey,
I don't really want to know how you're doing, my
I
friend.
don't-
I'm sorry.
dude, I'm on board with Eric, and he's right.
He
It
is.
doesn't matter. I mean, you just use whatever tool you got to use, and sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's fast. We all have the things that we like to do, but man, I like to catch fish.
Right.
So I don't care what it takes. I'll even throw a drop shot, which I have a hard time with.
Oh, yeah, don't
We-
complain
you know-
about the drop shot if I can't complain about the Senko.
Well,
And I've heard you cry about the drop shot.
I got a
I
valid
heard you
complaint.
cry about the drop shot, but I can't talk
Pete,
shit on the
we
Senko.
talk about it all the time. I mean, we're older. I mean, I'm 50.
Yeah.
I'll be 52 on Sunday. So, I grew up throwing those. Remember those worms that had the little spinners on them?
Yep.
What are they, cream
Cream.
worms?
Yeah.
Worm.
I mean, I was
Yeah.
like 10 years old. I caught
three
fish
hooks.
on them.
Yep.
And now we go out and buy $15 baits or whatever,
I know.
whatever the latest and greatest is, and they'll still eat that same little worm with the spinners on them.
Yeah.
Because they weren't alive then, I can guarantee you.
Yep.
Unless they're 40 pounds.
Are you telling me that we have?
Well, you can see the screen, right?
See him
No,
up
I
there?
can't see the screen. Hey,
Looking handsome and victorious.
hey, everybody! It looks like we have them with us. The winner, the crusher, dominated the FLW tournament this past week with a crushing 30-pound win, 100 pounds of fish, 30 pounds over second place, right about there. Jason Lambert, the champ. Good to have you with us, buddy.
Jason, are
What's
you
up,
drinking a
fellas?
40? What are you drinking there, Jay? Is that a 40?
No, that is that's a little IPA, a little craft beer, man.
Nice.
We're down in southern Oklahoma for Major League Fishing this week, so anytime I go anywhere, I gotta try out the local stuff.
So give it a shout out. What are you drinking, my friend?
Well, I don't even know the name of this. It's like 312 IPA or something like that. Yeah, 312 IPA. Pretty good
Okay.
stuff.
All right.
It's cold and it's beer, so it's all good.
Well, hey man, I was watching this tournament live, a lot of it, and it was impressive. They did some stats that impressed me too. You had going into this tournament, you had 3 of the heaviest 5-fish stringers ever caught in FLW competition out of Kentucky Lake, and you did it again. I think you scored 2 more in there, so you've got like 4 out of the top 10 heaviest weights ever caught on Kentucky Lake. And everybody knows how you're doing it, and you're still able to do it, man. It's pretty impressive.
Well, growing up at Pickwick, fishing, ledge fish my whole entire life, so it's not anything new that I haven't done in the past, but it's just a comfort thing. It's a comfort level, and Pickwick is tiny, man. It's tiny compared to Kentucky, and there's more offshore places to fish on Kentucky Lake from Kentucky Dam down to say 68 Bridge than there is on the entire lake at Pickwick. So, it's pretty dangerous when you turn a guy loose that really knows how to read them Garmins up there and let him ride around and look for 2 or 3 days, because we can find all of them. I mean, there's you look at the whole entire lake in 3 days' time if you don't do anything but ride and idle. And it's no secret. It's not a secret at all. I mean, I won on that Castaic Xerta J this time, just exactly the same bait that I threw in 2016, and with that Scrounger top head, that wobble head. So it's, I don't know, man. It's a lot of guys just don't get the confidence in it, but that's a confidence bait for me. And everybody's got what they like to do, and that's kind of my deal, man.
It was amazing. Were you using the 5-inch or the 7-inch, or were you mixing it up, or what were you doing?
A little of both. I was throwing the 5 and the 7. That 5, I always joke and call that my finesse bait, which a 5-inch swim bait's not necessarily a finesse bait, but that big 7 kind of did the majority of the damage the last couple of days. The 5 sometimes will get a little bite, get them stirred up a little bit when the 7 won't. So it's just a feel thing. You pick one of them up, throw it a little while, you don't get a bite. You pick the other one up, throw it a little while. Man, it's just kind of feeling out what they're doing. And I mean, if they're eating one of them, naturally you're not going to lay it down and pick the other one up.
Well, I saw you do something really cool live. One of them snapped at it, man. You bowed your rod up and you dropped it down, and you triggered that fish to bite again, or maybe another one in the school. That was pretty awesome to work through the strike, and you wound up catching that fish.
Wow!
Can you walk us through how that happened?
A lot of times those things, especially when you get into big schools like that. I say big schools. That was probably 12, 15 fish school, but a lot of times they'll hit that thing and they don't get it. But if you really don't throw it back in, they're sure not going to get it. So when they hit it, a lot of times and miss it, you just kill it and drop it back down. And it may be the same fish. It may not be the same fish. I don't know. But, I mean, anytime that ever happens, I always do it. And it doesn't matter if it's a swim bait or, a jig or a worm or whatever. I mean, they're trying to feed when that happens. So, if you pull it out of the water and throw it back in there, then you probably missed that opportunity. But if you just kill it, a lot of times they'll follow it down. Like I said, you know how those schooling fish are when you get in groups. A lot of those fish will follow up as one's coming up, and it could be a different fish. There's no way of knowing, but my train of thought on that deal is just keep it down there, and if it's down there, then they have an opportunity. Either that fish or another one has an opportunity to eat it. So just put it back down there to them, man.
Yeah, well, we saw you do it. It was amazing. And I noticed you do something else that was unique. I mean, you're always hitting that thumb bar. You're always dry. Are you trying to keep that bait down within a couple inches of the bottom, or what are you doing when you're hitting that thumb bar all the time?
Well, when you throw anything like that, that wobble head with that bill on it, or even when I throw it with the big chatterbait head, all those things tend to lift. They tend to lift it up off the bottom. And you don't have to do that stuff in 15, 16, 17 feet of water. But fishing as deep as we were last week, 23 to 25, it's just, I feel like it needs to be, not necessarily in contact with the bottom, but it needs to be in the vicinity of the bottom, just for the fact that, those fish are schooled up down there on the bottom. They're not suspended. So, the more appetizing, I guess, you can make that bait to them, and them not have to exert a lot of energy to eat it is probably the best approach.
Well, it was real. I watched you do it. It's pretty awesome. I also watched you smash a 9-pounder live on Saturday, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't. It was so big. You were calling it a smallmouth. You weren't even sure it was a bass because you're like, this thing is huge.
Well, when I hit that fish, I had no clue what it was. I mean, naturally, you think it's a bass when it eats a freaking 7-inch swim bait. But when it hit it, when I hit it and the rod didn't move, I knew it was something big. But, it actually didn't really fight all that much. It fought a little until I got it to the side of the boat. And we were talking about it, and I think Rob Newell even said something on live. He's like, when they did the rewind, he said, I don't think that fish realized it was caught until right then. And that might have been the case, because it wasn't, I knew it felt heavy. I knew there was weight to it. But when it got right to the side of the boat, man, that thing decided it wanted to go on a little jog. And most of the time, big largemouth don't really run like that. But I swore I thought it was a big smallmouth, because that thing right side of the boat, it took one of those big, just blistering runs down, peel and drag, and I actually had to thumb the spool because it was pulling on me so hard. I thought it was going to break me. But yeah, man, a 9-pounder anytime is amazing. But when you got the cameras rolling, and you can do it on live, that was pretty cool.
It's pretty cool when you got 24 pounds in the boat and then you catch a 9-pounder. That's pretty cool.
That doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt at all.
Well, I did notice it's obvious that you attended the Brian the Carpenter School of Network. You know, if any of you guys watch this, how he a couple of times, I think one time in particular, the net got all hung up in the rods.
I was going to say, bash the fish in the head with the net.
Well, you know, fishing FLW, we can use a net, obviously, and you know, on the days 1 and days 2, you got a co-angler, and most of the time we allow those guys to net for us, you know, depending on how that goes. I've had an incident this year, actually, where I probably shouldn't have let somebody else net one, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it was actually a careless mistake on my own part. You know, you get down and you start switching rods, pick up another rod, and you don't tuck them back in against the gunnel. And I had them hanging out over the deck. And when I went to drag my net up to net a 5.5 pounder, I picked it right straight up into my rod tips. Yep. So yeah, it was a cluster there for a moment, to say the least. But we got down in the seat and got it netted, so all was good. I got it lipped.
Yeah, I'm not sure sometimes, man. I watch you guys with the nets, and I deal with it too. We're allowed to use nets sometimes in the tournaments I fish, and man, should you just hand land it, or does that net really help you when you got to handle it yourself? I mean, you got a big fish in one hand, you got a cumbersome net in the other hand. Boy, and sometimes guys get out of position. I see the fish jump over the net, through the net. It's hard to handle with one hand.
Yeah. I think
well, you know, it's practice. I mean, and that's the thing, we don't practice enough because we got guys that are helping us, you know, on Thursday, Friday, and you know, it's never an issue until cut day, Saturday and Sunday for us. But with that being said, you know, I'm a strong proponent of the net, not necessarily as a fisherman for the fisherman, but I just think it's just a lot easier on the fish than it is to, you know, fight that thing down till it can't even swim and then net it in. I honestly think it's a better conservation move to net them than it is to lip them. But that's a conversation for another time, obviously. But yeah, we all have our moments, and I had one of them.
But there's body language that a co-angler will give you when he doesn't know how to net, right? The one who knows how to do it, his shoulders dipped into it, the net's near the surface of the water. It looks like he's ready to like slap out like a slap shot in hockey. You get that guy standing there, he's got the thing in like port arms. It's not even near the water. He's standing, his knees are straight, he's straight up and down. You're like, oh my God, like just get off the front. You know, I got this, dude. Yeah, you get them guys,
or
man.
when that dude comes to the front of the boat with the net in one hand and his rod in the other hand, that's the guy that you know immediately you don't want.
Yeah, and his right foot is on all your rods. You know?
yeah.
Bending the guides.
Yeah, but it's almost like you know, dude. Like there's like a form that a good netter has versus a guy that's like scared to death he's gonna knock your fish off the line.
Yeah, I had a guy with good form. He got up there with both hands on the net. He was all athletic, and that fish came and he scooped it with intensity and speed and hit my smallmouth right in the side and threw it about 30 yards back out into the lake. But that can happen from time to time.
I think sometimes, like, we lost one this past weekend in a tournament we fished, and it's just because I'm trying to fight it into the net. And a lot of times I can swing it a lot better than that, but he's got the net, and he's one of the best I've ever had net a fish for me. And I was trying to swim it into the net, and the fish was like, oh, no, I'm not having anything of that, and went under the boat, and the rest was history. But I think sometimes you're trying, if you can just swing it.
I've never experienced a bad net guy, nor have I ever. I mean, I've come close. I've hit a couple guys' fish before, but I've never knocked one off, dude.
I wouldn't want to knock one of Jason's off.
No,
I mean, like, I would feel like, are you kidding me? I just smell less. You know, this guy's good. He's living.
World class fish.
Hey,
Right.
Jason, you are world class at ledge fishing. You got to give our listeners, what are we looking for? The number one thing that would help them be led. Am I looking for shells? Am I looking for a break? Am I looking for bait? What am I looking for?
Dude, every time I go out, I'm looking for fish, period. Our electronics have gotten so good now. You know, everybody's got mapping. I mean, and some people's mapping's obviously a little better than others. But with that being said, I mean, there's nothing special about any of those places I caught those fish this past week. I mean, you know, the majority of them are what we consider, you know, the community holes. And it's just, to me, it's more about confidence in your electronics and knowing what you're looking at. I mean, you look at a topo map of Kentucky Lake, for example, or any of the Tennessee, or any of your guys' lakes for that matter. I mean, the creek intersections with the river channel, the long points that come out that face into the current. I mean, all that kind of stuff is this. I mean, that's the deal. Anywhere you go, so it's not. And they obviously don't get on every place every year, but it's more about confidence and like riding around looking at that depth finder and like, okay, that's bass. And when you see them, being able to relate out in the middle of the lake, okay, I saw those fish right here, and being able to get a bait back through them. I mean, and that's just time on the water. I mean, that's time, spent looking at your graphs. I tell guys a lot of times, if you don't know what bass looks like, but you like to fish offshore, and you ever get out fishing on your home lake or whatever, and you catch, you get a little school fired up, and you catch 2 or 3 or 4 in a row, drop a buoy marker where your boat's at. You know where you're casting, crank up and idle over, and then you can see them because they're there because you just caught them. But it's just building confidence and looking at them. I mean, dude, I don't care a bit in the world in an offshore tournament at Wick or Kentucky or Chickamauga or even Gunnersville. If it's summertime, come Derby Day, Thursday, I don't care at all to look for 5 or 6 hours a day. I mean, when you find what you're looking for, it doesn't matter how long you spent looking, because it don't take but 10 or 15 minutes. Because if they're ready to do their deal, you can be done. I mean, you guys saw that on live Sunday. I mean, by 7:30, I had 25 pounds.
Hey, Jason, you just said something that I was going to ask you a question on. If you were to break down percentage-wise in your practice, how much time you spent graphing versus casting, what would you say it was?
Well, at Kentucky Lake last week, we had about 14 to 15 hours a day of daylight, and I put 32 hours on my engine last week idling. And I didn't get on the water the first day till like 8:30 or 9 o'clock because I lived down at Pickwick, 2.5 hours later, so I just drove up Sunday morning and started. So, I probably spent, 36 hours on the water in 3 days, and I put 32 hours on the engine.
Man, do you like keep like standard equipment like Red Bull or 5 Hour Energies in there so you can
Actually, no, it's a lot of water, and it's an iPod, and it's Eric Church usually, and we can get through the day, or it's a lot of phone conversations with your buddies. It's just something to pass the time. But yeah, it gets pretty dang boring. It really does. But that's just my deal. That's what I do, and I've been super successful at it. And I wish we fished 9 tournaments a year on Kentucky Lake. I'd be fine with that.
That's like American Sniper type patience. Yeah. Just sitting there on the scope for like 12 hours, man. That's crazy, dude. I could never do that. Congratulations, Jason, for being that guy, man.
Well, you had a massive win, Jason. Let's talk about the obvious thing. Something happened in this tournament that nobody in professional sports has ever seen. The guy leading the tournament, you and him got into it at the first stop on the third day. Tell me what happened from your perspective.
Well, to clear the air, we actually didn't get into it. There was no there weren't any crosswords. There was no screaming, cussing, yelling. It was nothing like that. Thursday morning, I was boat 51. My first stop of the tournament was that particular hole, and I ran straight to it, dropped the trolling motor. Nobody saw me catch them. Nobody really even saw me out there. There was a few boats, a handful that went to that side of the lake that drove past me. But in like 30 minutes, I caught 24 pounds the first day, and nobody saw me catch them, so I pulled the trolling motor and I left. So on Friday morning, I blast off and I run straight down there to it, and he's sitting there. So I turned right, head on south, and scratched me out 19 pounds the rest of the day, or whatever I had, 19 and a half pounds. And come Saturday morning, I ran to that hole. And, my Evinrude is obviously faster than his rig. And, there's a lot of different things that could be said about it. I mean, if I'd have been in 10th place, 8 pounds back, that's one thing. But, I started on the hole. I was actually the first person to fish the hole in the tournament. I went straight to it Saturday. I was on the trolling motor fishing when he arrived, and he didn't care too much for that. And, everybody can see the live and see what he said. And, I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, I've got absolutely nothing negative to say about Randy. I've known the guy for 20 plus years. It's a bad deal, man. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's part of the game, though. I mean, we've all had tournaments where, we wanted to go fish a spot and somebody was there fishing. I mean, it's just it's the way it goes.
Jason, on day 2, what was the strategy behind not stopping there, even though you saw him there? Were you afraid he might not have known what was living there, or why'd you keep going? Why didn't you stop there?
Dude, I don't pull in on anybody. I ain't never pulled in on anybody. I mean, that's just, I'm not going to do that. It's not the way I do it. I mean, I ain't going to say I've never pulled in on anybody, because I had a situation last year at the Costa at Kentucky where a guy watched me wreck him in the morning, and I came back 2 hours later and he was there. Now, that's a different story. Yeah, I eased in with him. But, he was there. It was his, these community holes are community holes for a reason. And, he was there at that point in time. It's his hole, period. And that's the way it should be with any of the guys. I mean, period. If they're there, it's their hole. I mean, if they're not there, it's anybody's hole, because it's, these places get fished 20, 30 times a day, every day, the whole entire ledge season by, local guys and tournament guys and, weekend guys. They just get fished, and, it's just, I'm not going to pull in on somebody if they're sitting there fishing. It's just that simple.
Well, for those of you that don't know, you all have to know, but Randy Hayes left the tournament after that, after day 3. I would have thought if, you would have been upset, because you were there, you're fishing on day 3, and he pulls right in, and he's fishing right next to you. I never have seen this, except for that one time Jacob Wheeler and somebody else were sharing water. I forget who that was, but they were buddies trying to share the same spot. But he pulled. You guys were boat to boat making the same exact cast. I can't believe you kept your cool. I think I would have gone nuts.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, it really was. And this is a professional business. This is a professional sport, and we're all professional anglers for the most part. All of us are. But I've got sponsors that help me a lot, and the whole time that deal was going down, that's kind of what went through my head was, I'm a representative of not just myself, but of a lot of other people that are on this boat route, and FLW as well, and the whole organization, and the fishing world as well too. So, it was tough, man. It was real tough. I mean, you wanna scream and yell and cuss and let it all go, but that just wasn't. I mean, there's just too much. We've all got too much to lose to act like that, and I wasn't going to do it. I guess it's the old take the high road type statement, and it was hard. I mean, it was really, really hard.
Yeah,
but
that's bad. That's badass, Jason.
But you know what? No one talks about. No one's talking about how awkward it must have been for the co-anglers. Because I've been in that I've been in that situation where you're in the back and the two guys up front are arguing with each other, and you're looking at the co-angler like, I could take him if it comes down to it. I think I got this dude, man.
Well, see, I mean, we were 1 and 2 on the live day, so we both had camera guys in the back.
You didn't have co-anglers.
And it was actually kind of funny because those guys know each other. Obviously, they work together at every event all year long. And they were just in the back having a conversation. So, it was interesting. I mean, I think I said that on live actually when Randy decided to pull off the spot and leave. I think my comment was, well, that was interesting, and that's an understatement. But it all worked out in the end, and it's unfortunate. It's terribly unfortunate, and I mean, I don't know why Randy made that decision that he made. That's not for me to speculate on, but I had business to handle,
Jason.
and we handled business, and
When did you know Randy
life's
took the
good.
boat off the water?
When I came in that afternoon, I checked in pretty early that day.
Yeah,
Checked
I guess
in
so,
probably.
dude.
Yeah.
You didn't get any better than this one, right?
1:30,
I mean,
12 o'clock, I mean, no, probably 1:30 or 2 o'clock that day, and I was informed at that time that he had withdrawn from the event. So, yeah, man, it's just bad. It's a bad deal. It's I hate it for him. I hate it for.
I've never had it, Jason. How'd it feel to have a live well full where their backs are out of the water? Like
it was. Well, it felt good enough that on Saturday I was 1:30,
wow.
And then on Sunday I actually came in a little early and pulled a Timmy Horton, and we ordered some pizza and hung out and signed autographs and took pictures for about 3 hours.
What would we get? Is extra cheese, sausage, pepperoni? What's on the pizza?
Actually, we had a little of both. Jody White from FLW went and picked us up a Supreme and a pepperoni sausage. So we had a little of both. We probably ate way too many calories that afternoon.
Well, hey man, that was amazing. What was your weight on day 4? 28 pounds or
27 and some change, like 27.4, 27.5. I mean, I knew going out that morning I needed like 25.5 or something like that to break that 100 mark. And I got real close in 2016. I think I weighed in 97.2 in 2016 there. And the way practice went, I honestly didn't think there was a chance. I mean, because it wasn't a very good practice at all. But after that 30 sack on Saturday, I knew that there was a chance. And then after I smashed them that morning on Sunday morning, had 25 or so, I knew I needed like one bite, and we got that bite about 10 o'clock, 10:30, and I caught like a 6 3/4 at like 10:30, 10:45, and got rid of a little old baby 4.5, and it was. I knew at that point we had 100, and it was getting rough out there. I actually wanted to stay out and fish because, dude, you got to sit in a freaking hot-ass boat for, 3.5 hours in the sun with no shade. Excuse me. It was, I knew it was going to be a long, boring afternoon, so we actually stayed out about another hour and a half and just did a little scanning, fished a place or two here and there, and finally about 12, it started getting super rough. It was a beautiful Sunday afternoon in the south, and all the boat traffic started coming out. And I just, I wasn't going to take the chance of running anywhere because, everything we operate and run is man-made. You just never know what can happen. But we just decided to put it on the shelf about 12 o'clock.
But like, we're oversimplifying when he says he was shelf fishing. Like I drew a guy down in Pickwick who knew how to fish shelves and ledges. Guys up this way don't fully understand how intricate it is. That it's not just a matter of like drifting over top of it. Like there's a true art form, and it's probably one of the most misunderstood forms of fishing that we have.
Well, a lot of people are confused by it, but I mean, we got a master here that we're talking to right now, and it was impressive but you came in early and ordered pizza. Weren't you afraid that Scott Martin was going to catch like 70 pounds?
In the bass fishing world, I guess anything could happen, but I felt pretty safe at that point in time that I thought we probably had a 19-3 lead going out, so I had 27 in the box with a 19-3 lead. I was pretty confident that we probably had it done.
Hey Jason, I got a question for you real quick. I don't ledge fish, and a lot of other people that listen probably don't. What would be a bait you would recommend to start with to try to get some confidence in ledge fishing?
I'm a swim bait, crankbait guy. I mean, I throw that big giant C25, 6 cents a lot. I throw that big castaic a lot. I mean, but I'm a power fisherman. I mean, I like to chunk and wind. I think I might be a little bit ADHD or something maybe. But
I'm with you, buddy.
You can catch them out there. Kentucky Lake kind of made the old stroking the jig deal. That got famous for years at Kentucky Lake. A lot of guys fishing the football jig, and big worm. I mean, you can never go wrong with a 10-inch worm on any of the Tennessee River lakes. They'll all catch fish on all of them. But I'm just not the dragon type guy. I mean, I don't know. I just don't feel like you catch the giant bags on those baits either. You can catch a lot of numbers on them and catch a lot of fish on them. And I guess I'm just too wired up to sit out there and drag a jig or drag a worm. I mean, and I say that, and actually on Friday, that's how I ended up catching that 19.8 or whatever it was I weighed in, was dragging a big old Jean LaRue worm. But it just, man, that's like that counting them rocks thing. I just about seen you poke me in the eyeball with something.
It's like throwing a Senko.
Oh.
Yeah, if you ever catch me throwing a Senko, I want you to come and check my temperature and make sure I'm not sick and
Attaboy.
having
Say
a
it
real
like it
bad
is.
day or something.
I don't get the Senko hate. I can't take it. Change it.
Well, you know.
Oh, it's a fish catcher, dude. I mean, it probably catches more fish across the country now than about anything else. As far as any one particular bait, I'd say the Senko is probably the most bites people get across the whole entire country are probably Senko bites. But, ooh, dude, that's just painful.
Exactly.
What a license to print money. 75 cents a bait.
Right.
They break off.
Yeah.
You got a good deal, man. It's 80 cents most places. But
and you get one fish, maybe two out of it.
Right.
I actually we were at a Costa event on Potomac last year, and I told Yamamoto, he was fishing. I told Gary, I said, Gary, you're a damn genius, man. I mean, you made a bait that people love, and you only get one fish out of it. I mean, what the hell? And he said, well, you know, I'm a businessman.
Yeah, he is.
So I just took it as he knew what he was doing and put enough salt in them so they would tear, and people love them, so they just go buy more.
Yeah, we all think he's trying to make it sink. Meanwhile, right. It's to make you buy more. Yeah.
hey, have you and Randy buried the hatchet? Have you talked since this incident?
No, we haven't. You know, I'll probably see him here in a couple of weeks. I mean, dude, we live in the same town, so you know, it's not like
Wow.
we're basically I'm around him, a lot. So I moved out in the county a little bit, so we're not actually the same address anymore. But I mean, I'll see Randy. I mean, if not, I'll see him at St. Clair somewhere, and we'll talk. And you know, and I don't think, I personally don't think that Randy has a personal issue with me, and I can assure you that I don't with him. I mean, like I said in the interview the other day, I've known the guy 20 plus years, and he is a freaking awesome ledge fisherman. I mean, he kind of was, I guess, one of the pioneers of the electronics days, and spent a lot of time out there learning his deal, and he's great at it. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him, and we don't have, yeah, naturally, we've had a couple little spats in the past. We grew up fishing freaking local derbies against each other. I mean, and anybody that you fish against a lot, you're at some point going to have a little spat with, and you know, but it's always when you come into weigh-in, it's, hey, dude, I was wrong, or dude, I was wrong. You know, no big deal, and life goes on. And I firmly believe that when I see Randy, we will talk, and I don't think there'll be as for me, I know there won't be any hard feelings, and it's, it's just unfortunate. It's a tough situation. It's a tough situation for him to be in. It's a tough situation for me to be in, and it just gets magnified because there's cameras on everything now, and I get that. But I mean, those cameras are great for our sport. They're great for our personal brand, and that's phenomenal.
They're great for this. They're great for this web show.
So, Jason.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Jason.
It'd be kind of hard to do a web show without a camera.
So, Jason, are you saying right now that a video isn't going to wind up on World Star Hip Hop of you and him fighting at the 4th of July parade, like in front of the marching band or something?
No, that's not going to happen. I mean, that's not going to happen at all. No way.
All right.
Hey,
Leave it to Dave.
yeah.
There's some people I still want to fight at the 4th of July parade, dude. I can think of, man. After the firehouse gives out the free beer, hell yeah, dude. There's some dudes. At least like
Well, I don't know
where
wherever your 4th of July party is, where I want to go, because ours don't give out free beer, and I'm all about the free beer.
I hear that.
Jason, more importantly, when you're ledge fishing, do you use like a line conditioner to make those casts go a little bit longer? 'Cause if you don't, I know one. It's a really good product.
Actually, I don't. I just use Sunline Sniper, and I don't have to worry about it.
You know what?
You
let me pull that dagger right out of the heart. Holy cow! Thanks, Jason. Woo! Got hot in here
Man.
real quick.
Yeah, but man,
the guy loses $200,000 at the Classic, and
Jason, a scope makes a rifle. And that's all Reelsnot is, man. It's the scope to your line, dude. Come on, you can make it better. You can make it
I like it.
I don't shoot that far. I'm pretty good with bore sights.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, you're coming in 3 hours early. Now you're just hip shooting shit out of the air. Come on, enough of this guy.
What 4th of July party you gonna be at? 'Cause I'm coming down there.
Hey, we can
ruin
draw
my
a
rap.
circle out. I'm actually in Oklahoma right now, and it's way too hot down here to fight. Dude.
Yeah.
So
I'm not
we'll
coming
have to
down.
go somewhere else.
If I come down there, we're drinking beer.
Yeah, we got Hondo here, hip shooting
I
clay
am
out of the
too,
sky.
but it's like 96 degrees or something here, and the humidity is like horrendously terrible. I really feel bad for Ike and those guys that's got to go to Sabine here in a couple weeks because, dude, it is miserable.
Wow, it's going to be hot down there. So you're doing MLF out there in Oklahoma right now?
Yep, I actually this week's my first week with Major League Fishing, and man, it's been an experience. You know, we fish against some pretty dang good fishermen every week at the tour level, and Ike and those guys on elites do too. But when you take like, you know, the best of those guys, and you put 24 of them on the water, it's you better be freaking catching them because them guys catch them, dude.
Well, you better be careful because if you bump boats, you ram boats with Ish out there, he jumps on boats. You just got to throw some pork rind at him, he'll flare up.
That's a whole different
right away.
conversation for a whole different show, and I think Poche would like to be a part of that.
Well, Ish is allergic to pork. If you just wing a pork rind at his cheek, he'll swell up and you can get
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not in, dude. I'm way too old for all that fighting
I'm
stuff.
playing with
I
you.
mean, it's just, you know, it's I always laugh and joke. I'm way more of a lover than I am a fighter. But you know, I'm a pretty big dude, so I mean, if we have to, I guess we have to. But I'm out. I'm out on all that stuff.
So you got you still got some FLWs left on the schedule. Anything you're looking forward to?
Man, I'm actually I'm going back to Kentucky in 2 weeks. I'm gonna fish that Costa event up there. It's out of Barkley Lake, actually, but you know, it's be about a 20-minute run back over to Kentucky. So yeah, I'm gonna go back and fish that. I'll be home next week, back up there for that, and then we'll have a week or so off, and then we get the northern swing going. I'm actually gonna fish those northern Costas this time as well, just for the fact the championship's on Gunnersville. So. And we got our second Major League Fishings in Vermont in July. So it's a week before one of those Costas. So yeah, after this Kentucky Lake Costa here in 2 weeks, then I'll be up there with all you guys the rest of the year. We got St. Clair. We got Champlain first, which will be the 3rd week of June for a Northern Costa, and then we finish up the tour at St. Clair the last week of June, and then. Of course, that's when it gets crazy. We got 4th of July, a week home, and then go to ICAST, leave ICAST, drive to Vermont for the second MLF, and leave the MLF at Vermont and drive back over to Buffalo, Lake Erie, and Buffalo end of Lake Erie. So
busy.
Yeah, dude, it's fixing to get real busy for the next.
Gives you a month before your 4th
6 weeks.
of July showdown, right? Gives you a month to get yourself in shape, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm good for that. I mean, if y'all really feel it's necessary, we can make it happen.
FLW is probably not happy. You're probably just killed their Costa registration by like 30 boats by saying you're going to be there, dude.
You know, that tournament's going to be very interesting. We're out of Barkley. Like I said, it's about a 20-25 minute run from where we're out at Barkley back over to Kentucky through the canal. But there's also, the reason we're out of Barkley is there's a 300 boat championship out of Kentucky Dam Village that weekend. So it's going to be real crowded, and it's going to be a real tough derby actually with all those boats out there, because you know that lake. I mean, you heard some of the elite guys talking about it, and you heard a lot of our guys talking about it this past week. I mean, that lake has been for the last 5, 6, 8 years, 10 years, it has been the best tournament fishing lake in the United States without question, just because of its, the size of it. It's so big, people could spread out. You could fish different patterns, a lot of different things you could do, but this Asian carp situation up there is terrible, dude. I mean, it's as bad as anything that I've ever seen anywhere, and I honestly think that the population of bass in that lake are at least 50% less than they were even 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So the numbers aren't there. The schools of fish that usually are there aren't there. I mean, it's just in a real bad downward spiral right now. And, we're trying to raise some awareness on that situation and get some people involved that can make some decisions that are far higher than me. But we just need some attention paid to that, because it really is, man. It's a bad situation, and that lake is it's looking pretty bleak for the next few years.
Yeah, well, we heard all you guys talk about it, and bringing awareness to it is key, and hopefully we can get those commercial fishermen activated with some incentives to get out there and get after those carp and help the situation out. We'd sure like to see that. Kentucky Lake is awesome. As tough as it was, you made it look easy. Congratulations on a massive win, man. And we look forward to following you the rest of the year. People that want to follow you, you on social media, how can people keep up with you?
Yeah, I'm Facebook and Instagram and website are all three Jason Lambert Fishing. So it's jasonlambertfishing.com website, Instagram, Facebook, both just Jason Lambert Fishing. So yeah, keep up with me, man. We're gonna see what we can finish out here. Pretty good shape for the Cup in August. So we got the Costas. I'm trying to get qualified for that championship. Like I said, I'm gonna be plenty busy. So y'all follow along, see what's going on.
Will do, man.
Well, I may see at some of those northern coastas. I'm not going anywhere near that Kentucky Lake tournament. But good luck to you the rest of the season. I appreciate you putting up with us and being with us tonight, Jason. I really do. Good luck the rest of the season.
Hey, guys, I appreciate it. Anytime, give me a call.
Shoulders up, chin down, 4th of July.
That was awesome. That was awesome to hear him talk about the ledge pattern, go through that whole process. I mean, it's so. I mean, if you ever fish a tournament, you've been in that situation where somebody's pulled in on you, or you've pulled in on them, and it's just a term we use, pulled in on. But who's right, who's wrong? The thing that I've always learned is there's always two sides to a story. And just so everybody knows, we reached out to try to get Hayes on this show so that we could hear his perspective on what happened. How did that go, Brian?
I personally didn't reach out to Randy, but I spoke with Mark Jeffries, who spoke with Randy at length, and coming on and talking to he wasn't interested.
Yeah, I talked to him. He said that show sucks. I ain't going on that stupid show.
But
Was that too high?
Yeah.
Peak
with
jump.
my eardrums out, man.
Peak jump. I'm sorry. I'm no more Mark Jeffries. I was told that.
Yeah, well, but nonetheless, I appreciate him going through it. But I mean, I've been there a million times, man. You see somebody and you're like, I can't believe that guy is doing what he's doing, but in his mind, he's looking at you thinking, man, that's my area. You're the one at fault. But communication is key.
I'd like to reiterate my the way I look at Randy's move. I know a lot of people on social media had a lot of negative things to say about him, and that's cool, whatever. To me, I was impressed with the fact he had enough presence of mind to know he could no longer be there, right? Like, Randy was not comfortable in that situation and was about to lose his cool. And he had enough presence of mind to know his spot and say, all right, if you stay here, you're going to lose your freaking cool. You're going to make a scene on the camera. He couldn't do it. And he had
saving it for 4th of July.
He had the awareness to put it on the trailer and leave. I thought that was kind of cool. You know what I mean? Not something I could have done, or maybe Pete. Definitely not Mike. But
Nobody.
Well, not everybody can redline and then continue to compete.
Yeah.
Mike can. Mike redlines because the coffee's too cold.
That's a fact, Mike.
And he's right back to normal.
By the way, Mike hit me up. He's got a 4 a.m. wake-up call. He wants to get on immediately.
Bring it.
So let's take a quick commercial break, go right back to him.
Okay.
All right, we're going to hit the
All
commercial
right, we'll be
now.
back real quick. Ike's on the line. I'm interested to see what he has to say on this topic. We'll be right back.
Okay, what do you say?
Hey, Noah Wheeler here with Reelsnot. Been out on this pond for about an hour now. Haven't had a whole lot of luck. We've had a couple blow-ups, but not getting a lot. So we thought we would try the new Java product on this frog on the top water. It works great on jigs and other plastics, but we've noticed that when we do use it on top water, we get a trail in the water, the scent's in the water, and we're getting a lot more bites. So we're gonna spray some Java all over the frog. Apply from Reelsnot to the braid, get it nice and wet, and then as I reel it in, it's gonna work its way through it. Okay, so now we got that scent in the water, and then we got the frog all juiced up with some Reelsnot Java. Let's see what happens here. There's one, there's one. So as you can see, that scent got around in this little area, this little pocket we're fishing, and sure enough, one came up and nailed it. Small one, albeit, but hadn't caught anything since we've been here for about an hour and 10 minutes now. There's one. That's a good one too. That's a good one. Much better. Good little guy. Threw my frog. Man, they love this stuff. Right through the nose.
This time of year, I definitely recommend putting a little bit of this on your soft plastics too. There he is. Another one. Next cast. And that would be number 6. I'm addicted. I'll admit it. I'm straight addicted.
This might be bigger. You think so? Yeah. Feels bigger. I haven't even seen this thing yet. It doesn't want to come up. Don't break me off the rocks. Oh, it's a... Oh! 27 incher. He caught it. 28. Oh my god, that's such a healthy fish. Look at this size. Put a little liquid mayhem on your crappie jig, and look where the stripers get it.
You can't even see it, man.
That might be a keeper.
Four and a half inch drop shot worm, Bama bug. Finesse jig, PB&J, give me something hard. Hey, KVD here. Now, I didn't always know this much about fishing. It's 4-aught EWG worm hook. In fact, there was a time when I couldn't tell the difference between a jerkbait and a stickbait. But then I signed up for Mystery Tackle Box, the original monthly tackle subscription. And now I know more about fishing than I do about calculus.
And he knows a lot about calculus.
Plus, I get amazing extras like free fishing magazines. October 2016. Featured article, 4 places to throw a frog. Exclusive decals. Zombie bass. And how-to videos for all the great baits I receive. How to tune a crankbait. Is that underwater footage I smell?
I got goosebumps.
So if you're looking to develop enhanced fishing abilities like me, or you just like getting new tackle every month, go to mysterytacklebox.com and get your box today. Ooh, live minnows. Is it lunchtime already? Nature's candy. Oh. Is he in my pocket?